you know, or 18 bucks. But the purpose of the boning knife is as you come through the meat, this isn't getting buried in there. You're able to see where your blade's working. So I only use a boning knife. This is probably the most widely used, like on the barbecue circuit. They're cheap. If you lose one, it's not a big of a deal. They're easy to keep sharp.
Yeah.
Easy to sharpen.
No, we do not.
But I would suggest a boning knife. And you won't poke through and poke your finger. When you're trimming meat, always trim away from your hand. Always. In California, they require them to wear the mesh glove. And if you have people that are inexperienced, buy one. They're super cheap. You wear a mesh glove underneath their glove. And then if they happen to do it, I don't wear them because I only cut away from my hands. Until you get a slicer, this is my favorite slicer. This is what I use to slice my briskets. Sharper than a motherfucker. It's super thin. It's super thin. It's a Victorinox as well. Victorinoxes, they used to be Swiss Army. Swiss Army knives. But, so what I'm envisioning is initially on that turkey, until you want to buy a slicer, like a real slicer, I would just have them when it's cold, just sit and slice it up. Like these are great. And if you ever do briskets or anything else, you're gonna want that.
Yeah, I've seen those.
They're super thin, easy to keep sharp. And I think these are 39 bucks. And they're not, I mean, I have super fancy knives at home. This is what I use to trim meat. I didn't sharpen these real recently, but I figured it out. So, first thing with pork butts, have them cold, and then keeping them fairly dry. If any meat you're trimming is ever wet, you're more likely to slip holding it and stuff. So I like to work with dry meat. So whenever I pull them out, if I can figure out how to put a glove on, always have paper towels. And then when I open these packages, I try to keep, there's always going to be juice in the bottom. I always try to not cut it all the way down because I want most of the juice to stay in the bag so it doesn't drip all over my counter. Like I said, you know, clean area, dirty area. Now my hands are both dirty. And this space is dirty. And we should probably disinfect that too when we're finished. So somebody's not out there eating.
Absolutely.
If we drip any pork. Normally you'd be doing this on a stainless steel table. Yeah, go ahead. Just to catch anything.
How about I bring that small stainless steel table out?
This is gonna be pretty fast. I don't care. It's up to you. Okay, this box is gonna be thrown away, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I dry it off real quick. That's all it is. So this right here, I mean, it's the upper shoulder of the pig. They call it the butt. It's the butt end of the shoulder. There's a blade that runs right down there, kind of deep. And this, so this side right here, all I'm trying to do is get rid of any weird, bloody shit. Or if I see any like lymph nodes or any weird shit, I'm gonna get rid of anything that looks gross, basically. And any just exterior fat. Fat is not necessarily your friend on the outside. The fat right there that you see is your friend because it's going to melt into the, yeah. But any of this weird stuff, I'm going to get rid of. But I don't spend forever doing it. So right here, this is the fat cap. There's what we call a false cap under, or on the outer part. And then there's this that we call bacon that we kind of shred, and then there's a cap underneath. So this right here doesn't have the full outer cap. Normally this would be covered completely in fat. So what I want to do is cut all that fat off of this side, because remember, bark is flavor. So I'm going to come in here, always cutting away from my hand. Get something to hold on to. And I'm just going to get the majority of that fat out of there. See, that's not real meat right there. Yeah. I'm going to throw that away. And I'm going to get rid of most of the fat. It doesn't have to be everything. The Mexican cooks at Barrio love to take this home. Oh, chicharron, you know, like you're cutting off the best part. But
and this purpose is for it, right? I mean,
oh yeah, but
not for this. Though. I mean,
but most Americans, most whiteys don't like to eat that.
Whatever, let's deep fry it.
Yeah, do it. Make some cheat your own. So I'm taking off the majority of that fat. A little bit like that's not going to matter. It's going to just be flavored. So that right there,
So you go the whole thing down. Okay.
I would put it in baggies. And normally there would be a thicker fat cap, and then the little bit of this thin bit of this little bit of meat, which isn't even worth trying to save, and then another fat cap under that's thinner. So I take off all of that, and I put this in 1 gallon Ziplocs and send it home with the cooks. This is what I did at Barrio.
Because then we deep fry it and make chicharron, right?
Yeah. Or you cut it up and make tacos out of it. Do whatever you want, you know?
You cook it
I
in
mean,
that-
fats,
that-
calories,
that
and
lard
flavor,
that
and
Coke to
yeah,
it,
cook it
like
down.
Coca-Cola.
So this is the other side. So that's fat cap side. That is clean enough. If I see weird vessels or anything that just looks weird, I try to get rid of it, even though it probably won't impact anything. So when you shred these that you cooked the first time, so well, let me go back. Fat cap. I always cook, even though the fat cap's not here, I always cook upside down. I put it in just like that. Then I come back on this side away from here. That's what we call the money muscle. We would carve that out really nicely and serve medallions of that during trim-ins. That's the best part on this pork butt right there. It's up close to the loin.
The tenderloin, yeah.
Right. So, but then there's also a weird vein.
And you'd serve it as what? The money muscle, you'd serve it as...
Is medallions.
Uh,
And then I would do pulled from other parts too. But that right there, when it's done perfectly, and you slice the medallions, it's just, it's the best part of that pork. I mean, you eat it like a medallion instead of pulled. It just is a nice sliced, glazed in sauce. It's incredible. So right here on this side, next to the money muscle, on the non-fat cap side, there's always a weird vein right there. I take that out. And any of the fat that's just associated right there. I might take out just any exterior fat. That's not gonna matter. But that's all I'm gonna do there. After I cook this, so I like to square these up. It's mostly fat anyway if it's hanging off on that side. But I like to square it up. And then after it's cooked, when you go to shred, the biggest piece of fat in here that you need to make sure to get out is there's a big section of fat. This splits right that way. It goes all the way back down into here.
what's up, guys?
So this will go all the way back down into here. Make sure to separate that and get all that fat out of there. That's your biggest fat to worry about.
You mind if I take a gander at it real quick?
Go ahead.
Missed all the action.
Right there.
Dude, come on, man.
Hey, buddy.
Thank you. Oh, God. He's having a hell of a day. Thank you.
Uh-oh. That did leak. Dang it, it leaked.
We will sanitize this up before anybody sits out
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, he's got
Will you get a little more paper and put it to that side?
Thank you.
I'm trying to socially distance and do that here, so you have to wear masks.
I'm down, dude. Can't thank you enough, bud.
Happy to help.
You learning something, Dylan?
Hell yeah, are you kidding me? I'm taking notes, man. I'm recording the entire conversation.
I've been looking forward to this. And when you pour concrete, it trumps everything.
Right. Oh yeah. You want to get it.
Now, these are all pieces too.
So right now, square that up. When you separate, so this is a really moist part. That's the best part of the whole butt. That's why you want to break this into more chunks. This part will dry out. See, there's not as much marbling. See how you not only have fat running this way, but you have it running this way. So that will cook up really nice.
Okay.
I may have to, 6 feet, man, come on. That's not 6 feet. So this will be a drier section. This right here is what we call the horn. I often pull that. That's one of the better parts of this. So I would leave this in bigger chunks. I would leave this in bigger chunks. This, you'll be able to feel it too. The difference in this and this. See how this doesn't have a lot of marbling? That I'm gonna shred a little bit smaller, and so it can soak up sauce. These I'll leave in bigger chunks. The horn, some of the stuff around the bone, you'll be able to, you'll get the feel of it pretty quickly.
Remember, he was kind of telling you that when you filled the...
That'll be pretty dry right there. There are some tubes. They're actually literal round tubes running this way through there. Those are pretty moist. But you'll get the feel for it. Just make sure to get that fat out. Oh, the other thing that's really important to check is you don't have slivers of bone in here. Get those out now so that they don't end up in someone's...
Because when they saw it off, they saw.
Right. Sometimes these are broken.
Okay.
You want to make sure to get those off. That's all I'm doing to trim. And then to season for this, all I'm going to do, stand back just a little bit if you would. To season, now this is a clean hand, this is a dirty hand. I go pretty liberal with this. This is going to give you great color, and this is going to provide a lot of salt, and that's a lot of meat. You got to remember.
Bright red. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to turn out really nice in mahogany. So that's kind of my first layer. And they didn't have the other rub that I really wanted, so I got this, and it'll be good. It's just going to be unique. It has a little cinnamon in it, that one. It's good. It's just...
You see how it's getting kind of flimsy on you? Is that what you're talking about? It should be a little bit
Yeah,
colder?
it's warming up.
Okay.
Or sometimes if you're starting to get a little old, they'll do that. But see, I put a lot of rub on it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I put more. And I go a little lighter on this because, like I said, it has a little cinnamon and stuff. But it's good. So I go pretty heavy with
Looks
that.
like too much, you think, huh?
Yeah, but the dry rub, you're gonna have to get it in there.
It's kind of a lot. I might have gone a little heavy. But by the time you shred this, there's no salt on the whole inside of it. I might have gone a little heavy. Okay, so now remember I ended with, so all of this probably shouldn't be there, but whatever.
The cap side down.
Yeah, cap side down, even though I trimmed it.
The cap side's down now.
Right. And then the way it goes in is always the way it comes out. So I want to make it as even as I can thickness-wise. It's just going to cook as a roast, you know? I don't want it to be super thin on this side.
Right.
And then that's it. Now I'm going to cover that. I keep the outside of the pan clean, and then I have one dirty hand, one clean hand. And then that gets plastic wrap in the fridge. The guy in the morning knows to cover it and put it on the bottom shelf.